Poutine is traditionally made with French fries, gravy, and cheese curds. Why not make a sweet version? Spiced apple fries with caramel sauce and old cheddar cheese. I'm pretty sure even poutine purists would approve.
I first had poutine when I was on a ski trip to Quebec when I was a teenager, and that bowl of French fries covered in gravy, topped with cheese curds, sensational combination. Since then, I have enjoyed this rich and decadent street food, shall we say, many, many times, and I've decided to make it even more rich and decadent by turning it into a dessert. Apples instead of fries and salted caramel sauce instead of gravy. We can call it a fruitine, perhaps. Why not? Start with the caramel sauce. Take a pile of butter into a nice warm pan, and to it add some brown sugar and a little corn syrup. This is sweet and decadent caramel sauce. It's going to be a nice salty caramel sauce. Whisk this together. As the butter melts, it's going to want to separate from the brown sugar, so just hang out with it for this first initial stage. Whisking and just trying to pull it all together. Okay, the butter has almost melted. So when everything is nice and smooth, crack open a tin of sweetened condensed milk. It's so rich and decadent. Okay, so we have a pot of sweetness here. So we're going to bring this to a boil, and once it reaches a boil, just let it bubble away for about 5 minutes for it to come together. All right, turn up the heat just a tiny bit. Pull out this whisk, and this is where the sauce becomes salty. You can use sea salt or coarse salt, 2 big pinches. Could use this filling in tart shells even. It just could go on and on. All right, so now slice some apples. I have Honeycrisp Nova Scotian apples, the best kind, but just really any eating apple would be fine. You just don't want anything to be, you don't want your apples to be too mushy. So I'm going to slice. You're not making perfect factory fries here, you're making home fries. So just slice them in to sticks. And just about halfway through the slicing process, I'm going to put some butter in the pan and get that melting so we can fry these guys in some nice hot butter. All right, some butter in the pan. Just swirl that all around. So this caramel sauce does need some babysitting. Hang out with it, whisk it. Don't do what I'm doing necessarily, which is chopping apples while you're making caramel sauce, but just gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. So just keep an eye on it. We've got some butter melting. We're almost there. Wonderful. Okay, let's put these in the pan. Give them a little saute. If you're not deep frying our apple slices, that would just be too much. Coat them in all of this lovely butter. We don't want the apples to be raw, like a raw potato. We also don't want mushy apples. So somewhere in between, a nice warm, slightly soft to the tooth apple. Back to the sauce, which is looking great. And when it's nice and thick, take it off the heat, literally, because it will continue sucking up the heat from the stove. There we go. Turn off the heat there and turn up the heat here. All right, add just a pinch of cinnamon. to the apples. We've got a beautiful apple pie moment here. All right. And brandy will just add some fantastic flavor. The flame will just cook off all that alcohol, and it will just kind of char the apples in just that French fry way that we want. Okay, while that boils down, let's move on to a little cheese. Now, the traditional poutine topping is a cheese curd. I have some lovely aged cheddar, and I love aged cheddar with apple. One of my favorite snacks. So let's just cube this and use the cheddar instead of the cheese curds. It's gonna be so good. Okay, safe to go back in. Smells fantastic. I'm caught eating cheese. Pull it all together. Normally poutine is served in a takeaway container, in my memory. So pile on as many as you like. Turn that heat down. Drizzle with some gravy, otherwise known as salted caramel sauce. And top with aged cheddar. So we're practically in Quebec, home of poutine. Not sure what they'd say about this, but oh, it certainly is delicious. Sort of healthy. Half healthy. Who cares?
When the director says cut and I can't stop eating, it's gotta be good. Apple poutine has all the components for great comfort food. Saucy, cheesy, sweet, and delicious.